by overcoming. Tam sondan başlarım. Nasıl olsa sona ulaşmamışızdır. Hello, everyone, and I hope you guys are all well. And let's see what we got. Now, last week we had a bit of a technical issue, so we couldn't have a lesson, but this week we're back on track. And we're going to carry on with the topic, raising ourselves. Sorry, we're going to carry on with advanced by overcoming. All right, so next week we're going to do what I just said, raising ourselves, but this week we're going to do advanced by overcoming. And we were doing this last time. We'll just finish it off, and then next week we'll have a new topic happening. Now, for those who are new to the channel, you might want to go back and listen, or you might want to go to and listen the first, second, third semesters, because these articles that we're going through are already for students who've passed the courses, or if you're new and if you want to be if you want to study the wisdom of Kabbalah, and if you want to be with people who are like-minded, you can always go to Kabbalah.info, and from there on join the CabU Academy, where you can actually enroll in a course. Right then, so let's get smashing. We're going to start reading, and we'll go over them. And as usual, if you've got any questions, you can always shoot them through. I'll try and do my best to answer them as well as I can, as well as I can possibly do. All right, so let's carry on reading. So the topic, once again, advanced by overcoming. Now, as you know, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we want to achieve anything, anything in life, really, what we have to do is when we're moving towards that target, we've got to overcome many of the obstacles that come to our ways. And also in the wisdom of Kabbalah as well. So when one wants to be a Kabbalist and wants to advance in spirituality, obviously there are going to be things that pop up, which we're going to have to, get over and continue on the path. So Baal Islam rightfully is telling us, and also Rabash, whose excerpts we're reading, they're describing us what kind of states could come along and how we need to treat these situations. So every time I have a difficulty, or I feel like I don't have the desire for it or whatever, all these things I need to overcome. And they're trying to guide us as to how we can overcome them, because they will come. So they're writing it to us in advance so we can study them, So when those states come to a person, that person knows what to do. Right then. So Baal Islam, this is an excerpt from his Introduction to the Study of the 10 Sephirot, number 133. Only the mighty ones among them, whose patience endured, defeated the guards and opened the gate. And they were instantly awarded, seeing the king's face, who appointed each of them in his right place. Of course, from that moment on, they had no further dealings with those guards who diverted and misled them and made their lives bitter for several days and years, running back and forth around the gate. This is because they have been rewarded with working and serving before the glory of the king's face inside his palace. So what's important to understand here? He says it in the first few words, and that is only the mighty ones among them. And what does it mean to be mighty? Well, in our business, it says, whose patience endured. So on our path, we don't have to be geniuses. We don't have to have special skills or anything like that. We just have to have a consistent routine study and patience. Why? Because life takes time if you want to achieve something. You don't become, a successful person in anything really overnight. Because you got to put some effort into it. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes all kinds of tweaking in the way you do things and so on. So all the obstacles that come to a person where, he has to overcome them, just like we do in our careers or normal, regular lives out there during the day when we want to achieve something. Just like then, a person also has to, in this situation, take care of them as best he can and carry on and not jump off the bandwagon or, just leave. Because every time you have a difficulty, if you leave something, how can you get anything done? So same with spirituality, all right? But like it says here, it's really nice because you don't have to have some extra talent for it. You just need to be in a consistent study, a consistent framework, and then that framework and your patience will start turning you into something different, into something new. Rightio. So let's carry on reading. And if you've got any questions, shoot them through. This is another one. Let's see. This is also from Baal Islam. This is from Shamati, number 7. With a mighty hand and fury poured out. When one overcomes all the hardships and the disturbances, one is not easily repelled, but with a mighty hand. And if one overcomes even the mighty hand and does not want to move from the place of holiness whatsoever, but wants to adhere specifically to him in truth, and sees that he's repelled, then one says that fury is poured out on him. Otherwise, he would be allowed inside. But because fury is poured out on him by the Creator, he's not admitted into the king's palace to adhere to him. It follows that before one wants to move from one's place and breaks in and wants to enter, it cannot be said that he feels that fury is poured out on him. Rather, after all the rejections that he is rejected, and he does not move from his place, meaning when the mighty hand and the fury poured out have already been revealed upon him, then I will be king over you comes true. This is so because only through bursting and great efforts does the kingdom of heaven become revealed to him, and he's rewarded with entering the king's palace. So once again, consistency, right? If you want to attain spirituality according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, consistency, patience, and stubbornness. Just constantly being stubborn about attaining the goal. And a lot of people through experience, I've been in the wisdom of Kabbalah since 2001. That's pretty much 20 years. And a lot of the people that actually leave the wisdom of Kabbalah, They're not because they can't do it or anything. There's nothing really extraordinary here. It's just that they don't have the patience to do it. They want, a lot of people want things right now. It's like the 21st century. People want to lose weight. Give me a pill. Let me just take something and lose weight. I mean, it's just not going to happen, is it? So we want quick fixes for stuff. And we have to understand that hard work and patience is not going to be cancelled. Effort is not cancelled in life. So if you want to be good at anything, it's going to take patience. It's going to take some consistency. And so is with the wisdom of Kabbalah. Accordingly, I can't really say anything else here. But only a person who's really consistent and keeps pounding it, constantly working on it. And no matter what happens, he just doesn't leave. He just doesn't leave. And then the Creator kind of lets him in, because the Creator feels like, I see this guy isn't going anywhere and I can't push him away. And the only way to be that consistent, really, and to be that stubborn is to have the right environment around you. And a lot of people don't also manage to do that. So having the right environment, being around with the right people who support you and you'll support them, this mutual support really helps out. And this is why we've been, we always study in a group, because mutual help from friends is really, really important. Without the friends, you can't really get any new discernments either. And because you don't get new discernments, you don't make that leap. So studying the wisdom of Kabbalah is really dependent on the environment and how you use the environment, so you can really get some strength from it. Okay, so are there any questions, by the way? Not at the moment. Okay, rightio. So let's carry on reading a bit more. Here's another one from Baal Islam's Shamati article 138, concerning fear that sometimes comes upon a person. When fear comes upon a person, he should know that there is none else besides him, and even witchcraft. And if he sees that fear overcomes him, he should say that there is no such thing as chance. But the Creator has given him a chance from above, and he must contemplate and study the end to which he has been sent this fear. It appears that it is so that he will overcome and say, there's none else besides him. But if after all this, the fear has not departed him, he should take it as an example and say that his servitude of the Creator should be in the same measure of the fear, meaning that the fear of heaven, which is a merit, should be in the same manner of fear that he now has. That is, the body is impressed by this superficial fear, and exactly in the same way that the body is impressed, so should be the fear of heaven. Now, this is also a really important thing to understand, and I'll tell you why. A lot of the times in corporeal reality, right, in our day-to-day routine, mundane life, we have issues, right? It could be work, family, health, all kinds of stuff. And sometimes these really worry a person. And I know for myself as well. So a lot of worrying situations may come onto us, like even with this COVID-19, right? So we're like worried about our work, our economy, health, all kinds of things, the family, because anything can, just happen with this COVID-19 plus the economy. Everything is like really uncertain. And the world is really going through some dramatic stuff. So we're always also having this fear of tomorrow. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's my future going to be like? All these fears are really relevant to the way we study, because all the things that come to us really come from the Creator in order to bring us to the purpose of life, right? If there is a purpose to life, everything that must happen must surely be for that purpose. Otherwise, everything that happens would be redundant. It wouldn't be, if it's not for a purpose, then why do it? So all of the things that we're going through in life that bring us worries, fears, all kinds of anxieties, is simply because to make us think, is the thing that I'm really worried about? Where is it coming from? What is it for? Why am I scared? Or why am I worried? What am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to leverage what I'm going through right now and, take a step forward? And these are really important. And by the time sometimes a person gets over a worry, it could take considerable amount of time. And, I'm always talking from experience as well. That sometimes I used to go through it. I've been through a lot of stuff as well. So sometimes when you go through stuff, it really takes time until you chew it, you digest it, you understand it. Because initially it doesn't make sense. You're thinking, why would you be going through such a thing? Right? Because it just doesn't make sense. But as you go through these things, if you stick it out, later on, it makes you see that you grow from these things. And really the difficulties that you go through, if you stick them out and you carry on, it allows you to kind of raise yourself above those problems. And then you begin to understand that actually going above these things is the thing that makes you mature. That's the thing that really begins to puts you above your desire to receive. It puts you above your self-worry. And this also starts to build a bridge with the Creator, right? So on the one hand, you have a worry. On the other hand, you're really worried about it. You don't know what you're going to do with it. All these kinds of, thoughts and worries in your mind. And on the other hand, though, if you take the correct approach to it, if you don't leave the study, and while you're still studying, you do your best to take care of those worldly matters, but you're still studying, then as you do these actions and as you study the wisdom of Kabbalah, they kind of click, they kind of like, start to make sense. And even if they don't make sense at that moment, because usually it makes sense afterwards, after you're over the state, because when you're inside a state, you can't really make sense of it. Only when you get over it, and then, you contemplate a bit afterwards and you meditate on it a little bit. And then you think, oh, well, it's good that happened. And that kind of understanding is actually called wisdom from experience. So it takes a bit of process. And this is where a lot of people trip. And I'll tell you why they trip. Because we study wisdom of Kabbalah and we want to embetter ourselves, want to get rid of our egoism, want to correct our egoism, basically. And people don't understand how come they're getting hardships, because they're trying to do something good, right? I'm trying to change myself and I'm trying to become a better me and elevate myself towards the purpose of life by overcoming my egoism. So, our egoism also says, well, wait a minute, we're doing all these things to get to the purpose of life. And why are we getting shaken up? What's going on? It just doesn't feel fair, right? So this is where also a lot of people get tripped up. So this is another obstacle you gotta overcome. All right, we must understand that when we study wisdom of Kabbalah, if we start getting candies from the Creator, we'll never leave our egos. So we have to understand this principle that as we advance in spirituality, the Creator wants to raise us, and raising children, as you probably all know, if you've got kids, is by giving them things that they need to do, right? And by doing those things, they can actually start to take care of themselves in real life, okay? So these are all important issues here that we all need to take a look at. Let's take a look at, that was from Shamati number 138. Let's take a look at another Baal Islam article from A Sage's Fruit. It is impossible to attribute the bad to the Creator, since He is the absolute good. Hence, as long as one feels bad states, he must say that they come from elsewhere, from the environment. But in truth, when one is rewarded with seeing only good, and that there is no bad in the world, and everything is turned to good, then he's shown the truth, that the Creator did everything because he is almighty, and he alone did, does, and will do all the deeds. So once again, until we come to see the truth, it's really impossible for a person to justify the Creator. We're always going to have dramas with this topic of justifying the Creator, because every time we want to, well, every time we have to, not we want to, but every time we have to go up a little bit more to get closer to the Creator, we have to overcome new things. Okay, just like going to school, I can't, after I learned the alphabet, I can't just stick with that. So they have to teach me something new every year. So every year I'm having to learn new stuff. I'm having to, elevate myself to new levels. I get tested on everything. And it's, it's difficult, all right? Especially sometimes school can be hard for kids because you constantly have to learn new stuff. And it's just like, it's draining sometimes. And for a person, this is the same thing. So we have to understand here that the way that the Creator can raise us is by bringing situations that we have to overcome, that we need to overcome. And this overcoming is not just for us to, overcome it, but we have to relate it to the Creator. That everything is coming to me from the Creator for a purpose, and that he's actually, holding us by the hand. Now, when you're going through dramatic situations in life, it's hard to think that the Creator is holding our hands. It's more like he's slapping us, right? With all, with the things that we might be going through. However, though, the reason we feel the bad is because our nature is not corrected. We're really out of balance with nature. And because we're out of balance, this discrepancy between how we should be and how we are at the moment, that delta, the difference, is what's causing suffering and pain. So as long as humanity is also with this COVID-19, think about it for a moment. What's happening is that we're constantly being locked up at home. Life is telling us, listen, you can't live like this. You just can't. Vaccines are out, but now Delta is out, Another vaccine will be out. It'll be, I don't know, Gamma is going to be out. I don't know, some other thing is going to be out. It doesn't really matter. Because as long as we're out of balance with nature, nature will just replace it. And the problem with humanity is we're always trying to run away from problems rather than aiming at the cause of the problem. And the cause of the problem is our lack of balance with nature. And that is the reason for all our suffering. So as long as humanity doesn't come to this balance, if we don't understand the laws of nature and apply them, we will just keep getting beaten up, unfortunately. Okay, and the only way to actually go through it is really study the wisdom of Kabbalah, because you start to understand the laws of nature. And when you do, this is the beauty about the wisdom of Kabbalah. As you start to understand the laws of nature, and as you start advancing, anything that the Creator throws at you starts to become something you can use to move forward. And you can then stop looking at things like, oh, I need to get away from this. You can start to look at it as like, I can use this. I can begin to use this. And that is what we need to do, aiming at the core of the problem. So any issue that comes my way, I can begin to evaluate it through, through its usefulness for my advancement in spirituality. And this is the kind of thing that you need to build with experience in the group as you're working. And that is really important. Otherwise, you'll just get lost in there. Because a person just cannot make sense of the difficulties that life brings. And most of the time, if you're not using the environment and the study in a consistent way, you'll just fall off the bandwagon and just get weak. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's take a look at the next one. Here's one from Rabash, article number 195. The association of the quality of judgment with mercy. That's the name of the article that this was taken from. If a person overcomes and says that the bitter taste he finds in these nourishments are only because he does not have the proper vessels to receive the abundance, because his kelim are to receive and not to bestow, and he's sorry that the upper had to hide himself, for which the lower one can slander, this is regarded as man that the lower one raises. Now, man means the prayer. By this, the upper raises the ahab. Raising means that the upper one can show the lower one the merit and the pleasure that exists in the kelim of ahab, that the upper one can reveal. Thus, from the perspective of the lower one, it follows that he raises the Galgalta Einaim of the lower one, and by this itself, the lower one sees the merit of the upper one. It follows that the lower one ascends together with the ahab of the upper one. Now, this is a bit technical, all right, but if you're studying the wisdom of Kabbalah for a while, you probably understand what it's talking about. When we're overcoming a bitter situation, okay, what's really happening to us is we're building ourselves a jumping board where we can actually get up to the next level. So every time I'm in a bit of a dark situation, a blurry situation, heavy situation, like I don't know what's going on with me, and I've got issues and problems, you know, a bit, you know, darkness or heavy state. And then this is actually the beginning of a new state. And that beginning of a new state is called entering into the ahab of the upper state. So I want to go up one level. And in order for me to go up one level, I have to overcome a level of egoism, don't I? I have to raise myself, elevate myself to a higher level. And that means to overcome my next egoistic state. So overcoming an egoistic state is obviously going to start with something dark and heavy and unwanted by us. However, though, by trying to overcome this state, I can then raise myself to the enlightened level. That's what the Galgalta Einaim is, to a corrected level, to a higher consciousness, by actually going over that ahab. So any new state, basically what he's telling here is, any new state will start with darkness. So if there's something heavy going on, I should immediately understand that this is the beginning of a new situation, a new level, a new degree. And as that happens, as this new level, new degree begins to assert itself, then I can come out into the light afterwards. This is also another situation that we need to understand and really get used to in the study. I'm not going to start walking until I fall down several times or even more. Okay? If I'm trying to learn how to walk, I have to fall down. That's just how it is. And same with every level. So on any level where I'm trying to go up one level, I'm just going to have to get into that darkness. I'm going to have to fail. And from that failure, I'm going to have to afterwards, through succession, raise myself to a new level. And that's the process with anything and everything in life. All right, so. Okay, do we have anyone watching today? Live? Kurt? What, 7, 8? Okay, cool, so quiet. It's like all quiet on the Western Front. Okay, no worries. So let's carry on reading. Okay, so here's another one from Rabash, article number 19. Come on to Pharaoh 1. Even though one's evil, called self-love, is placed on his neck and wants to separate him from holiness by showing him that it is impossible to exit this authority, he should say that the picture he sees is the truth. However, he should not deny himself of mercy. For at that time, he must believe that the Creator can give him the mercy, meaning the quality of bestowal. That is, by himself, it is true that one cannot exit the authority of self-reception. But from the perspective of the Creator, when the Creator helps him, of course he can bring him out. This is the meaning of what's written, I'm the Lord, your God, who took you out from the land of Egypt to be your God. Right here. So often than not, we feel like our egos, and this all sounds bad, I know, but the topic is pretty good, okay? Because the only way to advance in anything in life is to overcome problems, right? Overcome issues, obstacles. So, so we have to kind of get used to it. So our egoistic nature, our self-love, right, is always going to try to disconnect us from our spiritual path, because egoism wants self-fulfillment. We want to fulfill ourselves, we want to get what we want in life, and so on. And spirituality says, listen, you can't get anything you want unless you're bestowing it. All right. And this is really, opposite to our nature. And because it's opposite to our nature, there's nothing we can really do about it to change it. So a person cannot really change his own nature, but the Creator can, because he created us, right? So what we have to do is, first of all, come to realize that this is the situation. Because if I understand that my nature is really, shooting me in the foot all the time, every day, then I can actually start to dislike my nature. And seeing the truth starts by beginning to understand that my egoism is actually causing me harm. My ego is the only thing that's causing me harm. And once I begin to see that, I begin to clarify that, then what I can do, even though I can't change my nature, I can, by nature, by my own nature, distance myself from what is harmful, which in this case is my egoism. So we can actually start our work, even though the Creator hasn't changed our nature or has not given us the attribute of bestowal, we can start to distance ourselves from our egoism. And that is already, half a job done, isn't it? So that's also something we need to keep in mind. And we have to understand, then we come to an understanding. Then I can do everything, I've done everything, but I can't change my nature. And that is when the prayer gets activated, because inside you begin to feel, you begin to understand there's nothing else I can do here. I'm not going to be able to change this nature. So either the Creator is going to do it, or we're just going to die like this. All right. And that's exactly the time when the Creator walks in and says, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Believe it or not, it does happen. It does take a bit of time to study, though. All right. So this is why, once like I said in the beginning of the lesson, the wisdom of Kabbalah, just like any profession, really, takes a bit of time, and the person really needs to chew it up. And I think in our generation, Rav also said this. So I'm quoting his words, really. He said, in our generation, what took, 10, 20, 30 years in the past really takes much less, because the new generation is more ready for it. Every new generation is, more and more prepared and ready for this, self-change or the willingness to change. All right. So let's carry on. Yes. Okay. All right. We got a question. Thanks, Kevin. It's good because I get a question. I'm kind of like get into the lesson. If I'm going through a disturbance in the 10, how can I come to a heartfelt prayer through frustration? How can I come to a heartfelt prayer through frustration? Well, look, if I'm going through a disturbance in the 10, first things first, right? I immediately have to relate it to the Creator. So the Creator is giving me a situation where I have to now evaluate, what is the situation? Why am I frustrated? Are the friends, I don't know, Is it because the friends are not in the lesson, or have they said something? Have they done something? Why am I frustrated with the friends? Because at the end of the day, elevating ourselves spiritually means that I have to change, right? So every time when there's some kind of frustration in the group, the cleanest study, right? The cleanest study is to invert the situation to myself, direct it to myself. I'm seeing the friends like this because I'm probably like that. I probably have that trait that's frustrating me. And this is in me, and this is something I have to change. I have to kind of like change myself. Because if you don't look at it through that way, then obviously there's nothing to talk about. We'll end up like, people out there on the street who are always finding faults in other people. The exception to the rule is this. If in the 10, there's a situation where a friend is disturbing the studies, not letting us get on with our work, constantly causing problems and disruption in our study, then that kind of frustration, obviously, we're not going to take. So immediately we, as a 10, or with your coordinator or whoever is looking after you, or your 10, should be involved, and you should discuss the situation. So it depends really on what the frustration is. Usually, through my experience, usually over the past 20 years, whenever I see something, that troubles me in the 10, if it's not against the study or what we're trying to attain or whatever, I always like to do inner scrutiny. I like to say, well, I'm seeing a fault in the friend because, I've got this in me. Because the world is showing us what we are. A lot of people think, well, everybody else in the world thinks that other people are at fault because that's how they see things. But when you study spirituality, when you study wisdom of Kabbalah, you begin to see that everything is in you. And then you begin to scrutinize everything that's seemingly outside as being you. And that is really when the study becomes really interesting, because then you begin to kind of like operate on yourself. You like this, like taking apart all these little details of yourself and working on it. So that's how the wisdom of Kabbalah works. So really, first of all, it depends on what the unique situation is. But first of all, there's none else besides him. Second of all, there is something that I need to change in me. And now this frustration is directing me to what I need to change, what I need to overcome. All right, I hope that answers the question. And can move forward with another Baal Islam Shamati article number 15. What is other gods in the work? The resistance of the body appears in a person in the form of foreign thoughts. It comes and asks the question of who and what. Through these questions, a person says that all these questions are certainly sent to him by the other side, the evil side, the Sitra Akhra, to obstruct him in the work. It says that if at that time one says that they come from the Sitra Akhra, one breaches what is written, you shall make no other gods over me. The reason is that one should believe that it comes to him from the Creator, since there is none else besides him. However, the divinity shows one his true state, how he is walking in the ways of the Creator. This means that by sending him these questions called foreign thoughts, meaning that through these foreign thoughts, she sees or he sees how he answers the questions regarded as foreign thoughts. And all this, one should know one's true state in the work so as to know what to do. Once again, this is really nice. Whenever I'm getting weird situations that I need to overcome, the Creator is just showing me the state that I'm in. And if I always look at it from that point of view, then I've got something to work with. I've got something to, something to build myself with. And this is why our work is really all inner work, really. All our work is just inner work. because we're constantly scrutinizing all these states that we're going through. So anytime I've got doubts, I've got queries, I can't kind of reconcile things. It's all, it seems like somebody's doing something to me. And all of these things that I'm going through are actually to make me kind of like funnel everything in to one point. There's none else besides him. So why is this important? Because by constantly bringing everything to there's none else besides him, I'm beginning this relationship with the Creator. It's like he's behind reality, bringing everything to me, all kinds of things that I'm going through. And I am, putting him at the cause, and everything that's coming to me is then becoming like a tool, like, a way of kind of building that bridge towards him. So sometimes it's called the thin bridge that we have to cross. But this is why. So a lot of the friends sometimes feel frustrated, and they're right. It is frustrating sometimes, and I can't say get over it, because I've been through so many stuff as well. It's frustrating, it's difficult, and it's just annoying sometimes, and downright upsetting too. It really, strains a person sometimes, the stuff he or she goes through. So I can't really say get over it, but what I can say through experience is that if you stick it out and you carry on, you just drag your feet along and you just try to do it, it just happens. It just happens that you get out of that situation, you grow, you begin to understand that everything that's happening builds patience in you. It builds understanding. It just makes you wise. It's just like those people who get older in life with a lot of wisdom, and you can see how calm they are towards life's events because they've been through so much. And this is how it works as well. We begin to, understand the Creator more and more. We begin to understand ourselves, reality, the Creator, how he's raising us, everything. It just comes together over time and by constantly going over these things. Rightio. All right, so let's just do one more. All right, I'm right in the mood. Let's do another one. This is also another one from this article. If one believes that it is written that there is none else besides him, and that the Creator sends all the foreign thoughts, meaning that he is the operator, the Creator that is, he certainly knows what to do and how to answer all the questions. This seems as though he sends him, the Creator sends him messengers to see how he slanders it, his kingdom of heaven. And this is how we can interpret the above matter. One can understand this, that everything comes from the Creator, for it is known that the beatings that the body beats a person with its foreign thoughts, since they do not come to a person when he does not engage in the work, but these beatings that come to a person are complete sensation, to the point that these thoughts smash his mind. They come specifically after preceding spiritual work more than usual. Now here's something nice. If I do more than the usual, it's like the Creator is going to hit me one, but he's not hitting me one, actually. The more I'm adding to my work, the Creator is like giving me more stuff to do. He's like, adding a bit more weight onto the, I don't know, the dumbbells or something. If I'm working like in the gym, think of it that way, right? So I'm working out more and more. So he's loading up the weights a bit more. And this is actually, once again, to show a person where he's still not corrected, where he lacks faith, where he lacks understanding, where he lacks how to manage his egoism. All the things that come to us come directly from the Creator, just to show us, listen, the reason you and I don't have a good relationship is because this is what you have to fix. And the Creator is pointing to a situation. He's showing me a situation
that I need to change. And if I don't do that, this relationship is not going to get better, because the lesson only ends when you learn from it. Okay? So relating everything once again to the Creator is the best thing we can do. And when things are coming one after the other, don't run away. Okay, don't run away, because that's what most people do. And then they just don't attain anything. Don't run away. Just let it come to you. And if you just take it nice and calmly, and sometimes it's really hard to do, and I know from myself as well, sometimes I go nuts too with all the things that happen. But however, though, if you just understand that everything I'm going through is because the Creator is pulling me towards Him, and I just have to keep pounding and just keep doing a bit more, a bit more, a bit more, then things start to resolve. Okay, because no matter what the Creator throws at you, if you keep walking on the path, it just shows the Creator that you're kind of like, it brings Him to a state where He's like, He doesn't have a choice anymore but to let you into spirituality. All right, I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense today. P. Green is asking, can you say love your friend as yourself in Hebrew? Ve'afta lerecha kamocha. That's how it is. Okay. And what else have we got today? Do you want me to carry on, guys? We've got, well, it's 50 minutes. We can still do one more, I think. If I can just get onto the next page here. Let's just do that. We actually have a song like that as well on the archive. Okay, so we're at about 9 people today. Let's just do one more. From Rabash, letter number 26. When one walks on the path of the Creator, he is given many awakenings from above. In the middle of the prayer, or while studying Torah, or while performing a mitzvah, this awakening enters the heart and it begins to feel that flavor and grace of holiness. However, one should know that he was given the abundance only so as to gain new strength and be able to grow stronger in the work, that he will engage in the battle of the war of the inclination. Then each time he's given a temporary rest, meaning upper abundance, for when the awakening from above comes to a person, it seems to him that there is no longer any war. For at that time he begins to feel the beauty and glory of holiness and the lowliness of corporeal matters until he resolves to work only for the Creator. Okay. Well, here's something that comes with a positive note, finally. So as we study, as we begin to overcome these situations, serenity sometimes settles in as we overcome them. Like I said, with that person who's got a lot of experience, as you get experienced and as new things come your way, like new things you've got to overcome, you begin to take it, rather calmly. And that calm, tranquil state is also good. And then obviously we'll come to a state where every time we overcome everything that we need to overcome, then obviously we'll find some peace of mind there. And that's actually when we find taste in bestowing. So the initial part, which is really frustrating to a person, is until he gets the attribute or the power to bestow. Until we attain the power to bestow, it becomes you know, it's like really, sometimes it can be really, like I said, draining and like overwhelming. But once you get there, then the serenity, calmness kind of sets in. And that's what we need to, well, we'll need to get to. All right, dear friends, I am going to end it here. And once again, I apologize for last week. Okay. And the reason was we had a like rainstorm here, and every time we have thunder and rainstorms, if they're really heavy, we get shortages. And it was in fact really funny because I just logged on to the computer and entered Zoom to give the lesson, and the electricity, like, you know, power cut happened. So it was exactly at the time of the lesson, and we waited a little bit, but it didn't come. So we had to kind of cancel that off. So my apologies for that again, but you know, I don't control the weather nor the electricity or the power supplies. So take care of yourselves until next week. Hopefully we'll see each other again. And pretty soon we've got another beginner's course starting, in case you don't know, for Africa. The date is not known yet, but when it comes, I'll announce it. So you're aware as well, because then we're going to have to give introduction lessons again for this, for the African continent specifically. But anyone can join, since the lessons are really for everyone. But obviously we'll have to give a pause to the courses, to the lessons that we're doing right now. Until then, until next week, see you guys. All the best. Bye-bye.